A very good morning. We're glad you're still watching Morning at NTV this Friday, the 6th of May. We do know your vibes are now hyper mode. And of course, we too here at NTV, Morning at NTV rather, we are increasingly getting into that. So now let's discuss local content in the arts industry. And of course, why investing in local content should be in position to pay off. Somebody says it's a conversation the country is not ready for. Now, I'm going to find out exactly why. Joining us for that is Andrew Kagua, an arts journalist, usual suspect, a partner in crime on Morning at NTV. How's your morning this Friday?
I think it's a good one. Well, you see, we are at that time where some of us have been consuming a lot of local content.
Yeah, sure.
For I think for the past 2 years, I think since the pandemic set in, that's when we knew, okay, it was a green light for many of us, so we just dived in right away. But yeah, when I say we are not, I think I'll tell you why we are not ready for
You will be telling us pretty shortly. Let me just give you a bit of a trigger into the conversation and how it's going to be shaped out. At the moment, one of the fastest growing television stations is Pearl Magic, whose sole focus is Ugandan content. To help us understand that, of course, is the kind of conversation that we are going to have today. If you have watched Pearl Magic, you've seen a little bit of Bina Uganda, but that is a little different from what you could describe as theater or stage drama. Here we are. It comes off, for example, if you tuned in and you're watching, there's a little bit of crisp nature to the picture, a little bit of elitism to the way of delivery and exactly how the acting is done. I don't know whether that should be even an issue, but at the end of the day, you are the expert. Help us understand this. Can we get underway by understanding, is there a market for high-end Ugandan content that TVs are ignoring, for example?
One, to tell you the truth, you see, there was that thing that people used to say, that Ugandans are not interested in local content, or Ugandans do not love to see local content. And I could say that was utter nonsense, which was being made up by people that just did not want to pay for content. Like it was an excuse people were making up just not to pay for people's content. I mean, if Ugandans were not ready for local content, or if Ugandans did not love local content, there is no way we would have had That's Life Mwatu when we were growing up. There is no way we would have had Bibao when we were growing up, Chigenya Genya, NC Tano. And then when you come into the 2000s or the 2010s...
All these were signature shows on TV at the time.
And they made celebrities. You can only make celebrities when people are watching you.
When people are watching you, sure.
Then you have shows like The Hostel. Basically, The Hostel gave us every single person that's practicing in the industry. You have Michael Owuyo, you have Matthew Nabwiso and Eleanor Nabwiso, then you have Pamela Kerieko. Literally all these people were part of that. Those are products of The Hostel. And then you had Deceptions later. Actually, before all these, you had Kachibechi. Now all those were on NTV. And then you had Power of Legacy. So you cannot be making all these big shows, which are all making celebrities. You walk around with Moshema and people still call him Balikoa because he was on a show. I think it was on Stack TV.
That was the role he played in that particular.
The show was called Balikoa Musiti, and people still call him Balikoa when you move around with him. Like, you cannot tell me that people recognize with the character that much and they do not love local content. But people that came up with that whole thing, Ugandans do not love local content, were people that were not ready to pay for local content.
They weren't ready to pay. And that, of course, leads us to the question that perhaps local content is a bit expensive to put together, and that's why mainstream television stations perhaps shun it and do not give it to the audiences as much as they ought to.
When I said, I don't know if we're ready for this conversation, that's what I was talking about. It's not like they are not ready to pay for it. Like, first things first, Content is expensive.
Content, any content.
Any content
Yeah,
is
sure.
expensive. The only content that's not expensive is the stolen one.
There you have it.
Yeah.
If you're stealing content,
The only
you
content
cannot
that's
prime yourself as doing something
not
that was worth.
expensive
Yeah.
is the stolen one. That's why you will see Uganda has very many TVs, some of them that are partly run by the government that are stealing content. Like they are showing pirated films, they are showing pirated TV series. You find someone showing a Netflix series, like who gave you the right to show a Netflix series? And I do not believe Netflix can give you rights, because the reason they made that is to drive people to their platform. Which platform is available in Uganda. So there is no way they can give you rights to show that. So the people that started that whole conversation were people that were not ready to pay for content. One, it's very wrong for someone to run a TV and they are willing to probably pay $1 million or $2 million for a TV drama, an episode. Like one, what can 2 million do? Like what can 2 million do? Like you see,
so how do we make that possible? How
you see, when we talk about these
yeah.
things, people at times do not get to understand why it's a very expensive thing to do a film. But one, a film is a full-time employment. It has departments. You have a lighting department, a cinematography department, a fashion and styling department, or costume department. The people that are going to work with makeup, people that are going to deal with props, the set, all these are departments. Now, if you imagine 2 million that someone is willing to pay for
a single episode,
and all these are just departments before we even talk about the actors that are going to actually bring this to life. Before we talk about the writers that are going to write this episode and
the producers,
turn it into
the directors,
the producers, the directors. So by the time you're done with all these, like a lot of money has actually gone into this to give you that episode.
That speaks of the need perhaps to rethink the marketing of films in order for films and any other content that falls within the local aspect becomes something the audience wants to watch and then be able to make sense to advertisers, or perhaps to pay for spaces, air and everything that comes with it. What should we do? How possible can we get to a point where, because when you look at what you say, cinematography, cosmetics and staff, the directors, a single film could take up as much as 100 million Uganda shillings.
Yes.
Yeah. And when or at what point does the director or whoever is bankrolling that project get back their money?
One of the biggest problems we have here is that people do not understand the film business. And they've not tried to understand the film business as it works. But you see, the point, when you're making a TV series, so easy to make, by the way. However expensive it is, it's so easy to make.
Your national TV, take us through that.
One, when you create sets, when you create your sets, many of these sets are, you will either set up in a building, you might build a set, but these sets are things you will build probably once, and they will take you for about 50 episodes. That's if you do not decide to change the kind of house you want. It will be expensive when you're setting up, but after that you'll have to deal with the writers, the actors, the people that are doing the actual work, but you're not getting into building a whole set again.
Sure.
So you will spend
just
a
keep
lot
playing
of
around
money.
with one?
Yes, you spend a lot of money to put this set together, but that set can serve you for a very long time. So one, people need to know that you need to spend money to make money. And let's not fool ourselves.
You need to spend money to make money. I've always told some of my peers and associates that for us to get $1 billion, we're going to have to spend a lot of money.
Yes.
But because there is a tendency for the average African and the Ugandan for that matter to look at the initial cost of entering a business or doing a project and then they back off because of the fear of loss. I think it's down to the fact that we do not have enough leverage to lose. When you lose something you've put into a project, you have no way back. And I think that explains why people are perhaps afraid too. But just take us through why we need to be able to, first of all, embrace the fact that you need money to make money, but most importantly, that money is needed within the film industry.
One, this is an industry that everyone will need art at the end of the day. Like I usually say, art is the way of life. So let me say, if you have a local show that is showing on NTV, yeah, that show will be shown in its time slot. Advertisers will come on board. Advertisers will come on board because of one thing. One, a local show is unique to the TV that's showing it.
That's showing it, yeah.
You're not going to walk down the street and you find a local show on a CD and someone is selling it. You're not going to easily find it on a torrent and you can download it, because it's a lot, like you can kind of control how it's being distributed, why it's going. You can easily control that
when you're using a particular TV.
So there are very many opportunities of showing. One, you can show it, and after showing it and that episode that's shown, you can look for people to stream it. And there are very many people that are buying local content at the moment. And it's partly the reason why many people that are distributing their shows to Power Magic, after they get them from Power Magic, they still do not bring them to Ugandan TVs. They sell them to
Is that the initiative? Is that the initiative that belongs to MultiChoice Uganda?
Power Magic is what belongs to MultiChoice, but they are streaming platforms, because after Power Magic shows your show, like they are literally done with it. They've paid you and they're done with it. The product comes back to you. And when the product comes back to you, you can look for someone to stream it, and they are paying to have your show on their platform. And at the moment, there are very many streaming platforms. Besides the Netflix and Showmax that people know, there are many other platforms that are taking on African content, and they are all paying people.
They're all paying people. Shortly you will take us through that ecosystem, and so we can understand the infrastructure from where we do what to be able to get some money. At the end of the day, what I know is that so many boys and girls out there who are very creative may not know exactly how this goes on, but if they, for example, get to understand how they can leverage on the various avenues that are available, no doubt the film industry can go ahead. The public relations manager for MultiChoice, Miss Joanne Semanda, was due to give us perspective on that, but she was unable to make it. No doubt you will be able to help us understand this particular. What is the ecosystem today that allows content to be uploaded, downloaded in commercial terms?
I will not say downloaded, I will say streamed.
Streamed.
Yeah.
Wow, thank you for the correction.
The ecosystem, I'll tell you for the platforms I understand because I've used. That's one, Netflix, then DSTV, and then Showmax. Showmax and DSTV are almost cousins, if not brothers. One, there are two ways a filmmaker can actually work with these people. I consider these people as exhibitors. One, I can make my film, and then I start talks with them. And they will license my film. When they license it, they have it for a specific time. And when that time is done, the film will come back to me.
Okay.
And when it comes back to me, remember when they license it, I'm paid.
You're paid, yeah. Those are the royalties that come with the...
For these platforms, when they license it, they pay you. They even pay you without knowing whether people are going to watch it, whether people will be interested in it. But the fact that they've licensed it and they've taken it, they've put it on their platforms, or they're exhibiting it, they will pay you. And that will be for a specific time. When that time is done, that film is back in your full control, and you can do anything with it, either sell it to another platform or take it to cinemas. Like one of my friends had a film on their platform, I think last year, and because last year we were in a pandemic,
Yeah,
and we
sure.
couldn't organize film premieres and everything. So when the film came back to his control this year, he put it in the cinema.
Wow. I think that is still very much a grey area, and it could perhaps inform why some people are fearful on how this content is first and foremost taken on by people who can, you know, bounce it to the global or regional audiences, so to speak. And sometimes when you tell somebody, I'm waiting again for it to come back into my control, what if it never comes back into my control?
You sign contracts.
You sign contracts and
you
stuff.
sign contracts.
Okay.
And then you, like, why I chose to talk about these three is because I really know how these work, and
okay.
they have a reputation to save.
No doubt.
So like, you're signing contracts, and you know what you're signing. They know they can get sued. So you basically know whatever you're doing when you're dealing with them. So, but anyway, so there is licensing. That licensing is me. I've done my work, and then I talk to them, we negotiate, and then they take on my content, they show it for a specific time, and then it comes back to me.
All right.
And then there is commissioning. Commissioning, this is content. You will put it together. You start negotiations with them. They see your script, they see if this story works, and they actually pay for its entire production.
Okay.
Like, basically, they are footing all the bills, but then that means when they have it on their platforms, it's unlimited to them.
Wow. It's
Like,
it's really
that's
an ecosystem that needs to be unpacked.
But of course, I don't see why anyone would argue for that content to come back to them, because someone else fully paid for it. Fully paid for, like, they fully paid.
No doubt. Just wrap this up, because time is not our best ally. We need a model that allows all stakeholders, first and foremost, to understand the business imperative, but most importantly, to allow for each player to have the kind of leverage that they need to be able to make money in this particular business. Are television stations able, for example, to come on board and provide what is no doubt a huge platform in terms of logistics, but most importantly, studios?
One, I think television stations need to first understand that they either come on board or crash. Like there's not any way around that. We are heading to the world where content is gold, where content is like oil, where everyone will need content. Like, everyone has a phone and they want to see something. One, TVs must understand that it all doesn't end on TV. Say, if you have a TV, you should be able to create an app. That app should be able to create at least original content of 15 minutes, because there are people that will be out there and they need to see something, and they can't access a TV then. For businessmen and everyone, that needs to be a lesson. Personally, I think where businessmen can make much of their money is in the cinemas. We need to work on our cinema culture, and that can only work when people are being paid to make films. I'm so much against filmmakers using their own money to make films.
Wow, thank you very much, Andrew Kagwa, a seasoned art journalist there, unpacking what is no doubt a very promising endeavor in terms of doing business. Here at NTV, we do pride ourselves in local content programming, and of course we can provide you a whole range of some of these products and of course when they are aired. That does it for this edition of Tech Note Discussion. Morning at NTV continues right after. Stay with us.